gotta be superwoman. Like, I've always been superwoman. I don't know, just like my relationships and everything, I've always just been superwoman, and I'm so over that.
Whew. Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Bird 91. Let's have a real discussion here. Have you ever felt like you couldn't rest? Have you ever felt like, you know what, you couldn't breathe or catch a breath? Have you ever felt like you just couldn't relax? Have you ever felt like, you know, you're having to do everything by yourself? Have you ever felt like there's nobody there to support you? Have you ever felt like, you know what, no one understands you? Have you ever felt like, even though you've got friends and family, you feel alone? Have you ever felt like you're not being protected? Have you ever felt like people don't care enough? Have you ever felt like, you know what, I'm just sick and I'm tired? Have you ever felt that hidden, seething, underneath the surface type of anger from the situations that you consistently find yourself in, the patterns of behavior you find yourself in, right? A lot of people mask their anger. And I think a lot of times we can easily spot the men that are hidden anger that turns out into bad behaviors. But there's a lot of women too who are dealing with anger issues. And when the anger I'm talking about here, you may disagree, but I'm going to tell you that the anger here is not like I want to beat everybody else up. The anger is from a place of disappointment and hurt. And the anger is usually the end result or the branch or the tree or the fruit that we see. But actually the root itself is there's disappointment and there's hurt and there's frustrations from being this strong black woman. I specifically use that title because I want it to be the trope to begin to untangle and break down this trope, right? We don't want to be in that place anymore, okay? It's not a positive, okay? All right? Now, you may never call yourself an angry person. You may never have lost control. You may never been a person that beats people up or anything like that, right? Or fights randomly or cusses people out. But your anger is in the way that maybe you discard relationships. Your anger is in the way that you deal with the opposite sex. Your anger is in the way that you're quite short sometimes on certain subjects. And people are like, wait, what's this? Your anger is in that that little rant that you had, and everyone's like, wait, why did you just rant like that? What happened? Your anger is in those particular aspects, right? And it may not be necessarily seen. Your anger is when you get hurt, you explode. When you get hurt and when someone's not as loyal as you were, or they didn't follow the protocol as you would, and the anger that you feel, the frustration that you feel, and that usually is coming from a place of frustration and hurt and disappointment. And a disappointment not just in that situation, but past disappointment. We're going to use Love and Lockup to break down this particular conversation for you guys and bring this to you. And I want to say this, listen, we're here to help, right? I do a lot of coaching now with clients, both men and women, and I want to help as many people as possible. So when I do these videos, are also as a way of kind of reaching the masses in a sense. But I would love for you guys to reach out to me if you want to discuss, delve deeper, you know, kind of unearth these things from a root cause, one-to-one in your more personal time, and shout me, description box down below as well. We'd love to hear from you guys. It's not free. We do charge, but it is at your discretion. So whatever you feel the session's worth, you pay. But back onto what I'm talking about here today. I want to be able to talk about this strong, angry black woman. You have been doing it on your own for too long, emotionally and mentally. You've had to fight all your life, emotionally and mentally. You've had to do things by yourself, emotionally and mentally. And many people that are that strong, angry black woman is coming from a trope of independence. You've had to be independent for a very long time. You didn't have a choice. You probably looked after your siblings, or you had to get a job early, or you had to fend for yourself emotionally and mentally by yourself, right? Or, you know, you had to figure stuff out by yourself. You had to go to school and figure out how to pay for your school books and da-da-da. You've done so many things by yourself. You've learned how to be super independent, and you take pride in your independence. Lovely. But you also realize how hard it is consistently being one man on an island and saying you don't need nobody, or discarding of people when they don't do exactly what you want, or, you know, getting into arguments with friends because they don't support you in the way that you want to be supported. You support everybody else, but nobody supports you. You love on everybody else, but they don't love you. You treat everybody with kindness, but they don't treat you with kindness, right? And there's that frustration and anger that begins to build, right? Where you're silently asking for help, but a lot of times you're too prideful to ask for it. And I know I'm saying some words that are strong. You don't want to ask for help, because why can't people just see that you need help when you anticipate other people's needs? I get it. I'm with you and I hear it, right? I really, really hear it. But I'm going to tell you something. Anger is a good thing in a situation. Let me tell you why anger is a good thing. Okay, let me tell you why anger is a great thing in this instance. But let's get deep first and foremost before we do. Let's get deeper. Why is anger a great thing in a situation? Well, anger is a great thing because it's now telling you, warning sign, we've had enough. And if we've had enough, it means it's time to confront the actual issue. No, it's not time to confront the fruit, nor the branches, or the trunk itself. It's time to now delve deep and confront the root causes of your actual issues, right? And it's time to actually face the music, because you've been dodging for a long while, facing that actual room that's locked, and you've put a key in there and said, and you chewed a key and you said, I'm not going to deal with that door anymore, because you don't want to face what's behind it. But the reality is that anger is telling you people have crossed your wires. But the reality is your anger that you actually really feel is coming from the past. It's not coming from this one moment. Like, if you had a one moment, we wouldn't be calling you an angry person. It's coming from the past disappointment, right? And some of those disappointments, you may have said, oh, I'm good now, I'm okay, I'm indifferent, whatever, but it's creeping up every time. It's forcing you to deal with situations in a way that you potentially don't want to deal with, right? Anger is a driving issue that pushes us to confront, okay? It forces us to deal with the pain that we're actually seeing right now. It forces us to remove and tear the mask that we're wearing, right? From the lack of safety, the lack of support, the lack of help, the lack of time off, the lack of love, the lack of needs being met, the lack of parental care that you needed, the lack of support from your baby daddy, or I shouldn't say that, the father of your kids, or, from your husband or your boyfriend or whatever. You are feeling something and your anger is telling you it's time to face the music. So let's get into this review, because we're going to use this young lady as a way of being able to explain what's really happening to people at this point in time. Let's just play a little clip here. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm just over it. Just want to breathe. I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I'm stuck.
I love this sentiment that she says here. I just want to breathe. And how many people are in that space where they want to breathe, right? They're just so tired of doing the monotonous thing, and eventually the body breaks down. Eventually the body catches up with you. Being a strong, angry black woman, the anger, I'm not talking about the anger again that you fight people, the anger that's seething, that's underneath the surface. Okay? Right? That sometimes your kids get, sometimes your uncles get, sometimes your cousins get, whatever you want to call it, right? Sometimes your boyfriend gets. There's that anger that's seated underneath the surface. And what we're saying in a sense is this, right? She's got to a breaking point. And when you get to that breaking point where you've had enough, you have two choices. Either you change to grow, or you retreat to fall back into previous patterns of safety and comfort that you were doing before, and you'll face this again. But I want to go into this person's this young lady's life and start from the root cause, because you know me, I like root causes. I like to deal with where this actually began. Listen to this young.
Completely affected me. It's like
Let's pause it right there. All right. How many times do we hear the story? Right? How many times when I'm coaching people, I hear the story all the time. Whether it's a mother or whether it's a father, whichever one, it could be a father not being emotionally present. It could be a father being there, physically present, but not emotionally present. It could be a mother being there, but not emotionally present. It can be a mother that was there, that was inconsistent with her emotions. It could be a mother that's intrusive, or a father that's intrusive on boundaries. It could be a father that, had unkind words to say to you, but was always there for you somehow, some shape, some form. Or there was a stepdad that was involved, but he wasn't really fully there, or something. There's always an intrusion on the boundaries, and there's always an intrusion on the parental love at the beginning, as to why most root causes start there, as to why most people's anger issues start there. Most people's independence, hyper independence starts there. And hyper independence means, almost you go over the top when it comes to independence. I don't need nobody, I'm good. When really you're struggling, when really you don't know how to ask for help. And a lot of people's issues start from there. Why? Because the playground that you should have been exploring as a child has been removed. It's no longer safe to play in the playground, and you have to grow up. A lot of women have gone through situations where you had to look after your siblings. You had to go and get a job or an extra job before it's time. You had to pay your school fees. You had to work at the same time. You had to you had to look after yourself. You had to, find a way to feed yourself. You had to emotionally take care of yourself, mentally take care of yourself. Like, you were doing so many things by yourself, and maybe your parent thought to yourself, you're okay, you're good, you're the strong one, or maybe your parent needed a third parent, right? Because maybe the two parents in the household needed a third parent to look after that child, and you were angry because it restricted you. because it didn't give you the freedom that you wanted to do what you wanted to do. You were always being held down. Maybe you got anger about that. Whichever way, there is something at the beginning of your life that usually starts this journey of the strong, angry black woman, right? And we're saying it again once more. We don't want anyone to stay in that position, right? But the security and the safety has shifted from childhood, meaning you were no longer a child, you were an adult in a child's body. And in that place, you've been forced to grow, and it's trauma on the body, on the mind, on the soul, on the heart, immediately. No matter how you look at it. No matter how well you turned out, how great your job is, how great your career is, how great you think it is, emotionally, oftentimes people are stunted because they've had to grow up before their time. So yes, you're mature in the things of life, but emotionally, it don't take much, right? Now, I want you to notice that she said, obviously, her father passed. Now, I want to just listen to the story.
Never had that father figure and love that I needed. That's what I've been searching for in men. I'm a broken girl, and
now what's interesting, she said she was searching for this in men. Now, what's really funny is that when people establish patterns, when people are in their life dealing with relationships, they don't realize they're establishing patterns, right? Now, she said obviously that her father wasn't there. I don't know if he passed or whatever, but her father wasn't there. Okay, I want you to listen to the pattern she's about to explain, because it's a pattern. And if you're listening to this, you will know that there's a pattern from what you see from your parent and how the parent dealt with you. You'll realize that your friends and your family and your your loved ones, your relationship that you're actually romantically, will follow a similar pattern. There's a similar pattern that keeps following itself, and the reason is because you've not broken that pattern. And your anger is trying to tell you, break the pattern. It's time to change what you're seeing in front of you. Listen up.
Who is looking out for you?
I mean, I feel like my boyfriend now, but it's like still he's not here. He went to jail.
Are there things you...
So her boyfriend is looking out for her, but he's not there physically because he's in jail. So you notice again, she's pulled the same pattern. An absentee man in her life, whether it was forced or not forced, either way, she's still searching for her father in this particular aspect, and she's repeating the pattern. So choosing somebody that could be present, somebody that can take care of her, someone who can appreciate her, someone who can love her. Well, she doesn't know that. And so until she begins to acknowledge that she doesn't know that and begin to change the knowledge that she has in this immediate moment, she's going to keep on repeating the pattern. And now she's chosen a man who's not going to be physically present, but can be calling on the phone, whether from jail. But even then, he's restricted. And actually, it's a source of comfort for her because that's what she experienced as a child. So actually, him not being there all the time is okay because I've experienced that as a child. But the reality is, you're tired now. You don't want to do that anymore. But yet you're still repeating the pattern. Okay? All right? And I want to show you something also about the anger that seems to pop up, as well, because I think this is really important as well. Listen to this.
In person was 3 years ago.
Okay, that's her boyfriend she hasn't seen in 3 years ago. She just got a call from her lawyer saying your court date has changed. And your court date changing... it's now changed to the same day you were going to see your boyfriend in the jail, who she hasn't seen for 3 years. Life can be cruel, can it not? Life can be really cruel. How many of you who are listening to this have thought that you just needed a break, right? And I'm not talking about a break in terms of break from life. You needed a breakthrough, okay? You needed a breakthrough. You needed life just to give you a little bit of a chance. You needed life just to give you a little bit of a breather. You needed life not to dump some more bad luck on you or some more bad issues on you, right? Do you know what's happening? Life is teaching you a lesson. It's trying to tell you, change the pattern. If you see, in that immediate moment, what happened is that life determined that what will you do now? See, that pattern of anger that you have, that frustration, that hurt you have, that a pattern of a boyfriend to the father figure that you had that's absentee. Okay, we're going to test her again. Let's see if she's actually learned how to handle her anger. Let's see if she's actually learned how to confront her anger. Let's see if she's learned how to actually begin the work of healing from those past wounds. Okay, and we're going to give her another challenge. We're going to rearrange her life and order it in a way that's going to make it even more frustrating. But what will she do? Will she go back to her comforts? Because right now she's also stripping right now as well, which is just so sad. She's stripping at the moment, right? Will you go further and deeper into your comforts of your survival mode, or will you learn to thrive here? See, life will give you these instances and challenges in order to either grow you, or you will shrink back even further than when you were before. Don't let life take you further down that road. It's time to thrive. It is time to step up to the plate. It's time to confront. It's time to say no more. The Bible says, submit unto God and resist the devil. And so there's a time that the Bible says in Ephesians 6 that we wrestle against not flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual wickednesses. And it says, put on the whole armor of God. Because there is a day that's coming that you will need to fight. And so where everybody has their day that they're going to fight. And so life is trying to tell you something. It's trying to say that anger that you got right now, strong, angry black woman, there's an anger, but there's a reason. It's good. It's trying to tell you, listen, today, stand up. Today, something's got to change. I cannot keep doing the same things I was doing before. I cannot keep being in a strong, independent woman I was before. I need help. I need to ask someone for help. I need to change the way I do things. If I'm angry at the situation, I need to figure out what's a different way of doing this. What's a different way of doing this, right? Otherwise, what's going to happen, and I love this, what she's going to say here. Listen to this.
Emotional person, and I always just feel like I've been through a lot. I just like try to mask everything, and I let it build up and build up and build up, and then I explode, and then
Yes, and what often happens is there's a build up, and then people explode, right? And people explode, and your explosion may not be you blow up on even like on getting into a fight, but your explosion could be one day an argument with a friend, and you explode. You don't understand me, you don't love me, you don't care, and the friend's like, whoa, what's going on here? Or you know what? People don't really care about me. Discard. Right? You say something a little bit too sharp than you needed to today, and it causes carnage in your relationship. And you're asking yourself, where did that come from? It's because you're still feeling the pain. And you've let it build up, and it finds somewhere to depart from you. Right? It finds somewhere. A little bit too much dip on your chip, as they say in England. Okay? All right? But look at this. I want to listen to this. I want to listen to this because I love this breakdown that she gives as well. Listen to this.
be superwoman. Like I've always been.
Now, listen to what she just said. I've always felt like I've got to be superwoman. And the reality of the situation is being a superwoman is very difficult because you're not a superwoman. You're a human being. And the reality of the situation that super is going to get you killed. Okay? All right? And eventually you're going to tire out and burn out. And so what we see here is that once you become the superwoman, you get angry at being labeled a superwoman because you know you're not a superwoman. And by being a superwoman, it tends to send a signal to, especially if you're talking about a romantic relationship, for that man to say, you don't need my help. And then you're carrying a load that's well beyond yours. And that oftentimes also goes back to boundary issues because you're then carrying probably not just your load, you probably end up carrying his load. Right? Or carrying their load, or carrying your family's load, or maybe you're the go-to for every family. Every family relies on you. Every family is like, you know what? You're the one that we're gonna ask to help us with this, right? I can't wait to do another video. I'm gonna do a video on boundaries called the martyr, right? Where people martyr themselves to solve everybody's issues because they need to be needed, because they're afraid that if they're not needed, they'll be discarded and they'll be abandoned. But in this situation, we're talking about is that people try to become everything to everybody or to someone because they don't want to feel the loss. I have to do everything in my power to keep you. But I'm so used to being in a place of carrying every load from such a young age. I don't know any different. But yet, I still feel angry. I still feel hurt. I still feel annoyed. I still feel like, you know what, it's a lot on me. And I need help. That's the reality of life. Reality of the situation. Okay? That's the reality situation. And I love this last point that she makes as well. This last point here was such a powerful point.
To handle the anger in the situation.
I feel like when you show people your true emotions, they take advantage of that, trample over it, do what they want.
So how can anybody help her? Because when she says, I feel like people take advantage of me, take advantage of my emotions, so I don't tell. So basically what's going to happen is she's going to keep that emotion to herself. She ain't going to share it. You see? And if I can't share it, then it can't be a shared load. And many women are in a space where they can't share their feelings or their thoughts. They can't share their daily things, their things that they're going through, the things that are affecting them. They can't share what's hampering their mind. They can't share their emotions, mental, spiritual, physical issues that are going on, because they're so used to being so strong. And they're so used to being everybody else's confidant. They're so used to being everybody's place of refuge that when it comes to them, they don't know how to share. They don't know how to be vulnerable. And they are suffering and they are drowning. Okay? They are suffering and they're drowning. And if that's you, listen, it's time to let go. Here's the solution. It's time to let go of the superwoman trope. And it's time to start putting yourself as a number one priority. You need to prioritize you. If that means that some people are going to get a no today, tomorrow, next week, then let it be. Because you need to have rest, and you need to have a time where you can actually finally begin to breathe. You need to have time where you can actually begin to relax. Right? The Bible says that Jesus Christ's yoke is lighter. There's time for resting and relaxations. There's time for enjoyment. You cannot be working all your life for other people. Cannot be always the confidant that everybody runs to for life. You will get tired. You need your place where you can also deposit. And that comes through trusting people, though. So trust your friendships. Right? Trust that people are going to be there for you. Trust that they want to be there for you. Trust that they want to hear your story. It's time to come out your shell, man. Don't let the strong, angry black woman trope get you killed, man. You know what I mean? All right? We want to see you in healthy relationships with self, friends, family, and romantic partners. All right, guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on